Is there
Yes,
actually a potential risk of fertility being affected by this vaccine?
I was alerted by a guy who specialized in human genetics, and he gave some literature and he gave some alert that there is some parts of the human genome is coming from viruses. We get them from viruses, from retroviruses. We are shaped from our functions in our body are regulated by genes, and some of those genes, they come from viruses. And there is one gene which is part of our genome, which is regulating that the placenta is growing in the uterus. And this is cytocystine. And this will come, and this protein, this is very, very similar to proteins that have been described in the spikes of the coronavirus.
Okay.
And the homology between those two proteins, this makes me question whether if we have antibody against the proteins of the coronavirus spikes, what we want to have with this vaccination, what they are aiming at, do those antibody also neutralize the syncysteine? Syncysteine is similar. The proteins are similar. And if you have antibodies, they recognize the proteins. And when they recognize only the spike protein, this will not happen. But when they also react with a very similar syncysteine, then there will be infertility. This is the danger. And I want to know whether this was tested. They tried to find out whether this could happen, and they did not. It was not included. The women who are participating in this now, they are said to have anti-conception measures. Some say 28 days, and some say 3 months after the stop of the study. But you know, the long term, if you want to observe if there is infertility, you have to observe a little bit longer. Sometimes people want to get children, and it takes some months until they succeed. So you don't know this, and it is not going to be observed. And I think this is a very big risk, and I want to know whether there are results in animal studies or not. And I think they even haven't tested this with animals. So this is a danger. And we only ask, we don't say it is like that, but we want to know that it is not like that.
Correct. Just where there are possibilities in science, especially with an experimental product and a brand new technology, before we give it to millions of people, we should start crossing out potentials that scientists are pointing out with how this thing may backfire. So obviously you are laying out some very, very disturbing issues. We have no way to know whether we've overcome some catastrophic potential future results with this vaccine. And the tests we're using are inadequate. To me, it's an embarrassment on science that at such a critical time we're either cutting corners or using the wrong type of diagnostic tools. It defies reason at levels that I'm speechless.
Protect yourself and protect all your neighbors and friends, not so that they don't get this vaccine. And you have to show up. You have to tell the politicians that you will blame them for what they do with this. I think what's happening, it's a great betrayal. We are betrayed, and people who betray normally are punished. And we won't forget this if they go on doing this with us. We are trying, as many scientists and as many doctors, to convince them not to participate in this. And if the doctors don't participate, and if the scientists show up, maybe that the politicians stop this nonsense. And then, okay, they can come and we talk with them, and we want to be sure that something like that never happens again. We have to live together. We have to go on living together. And so those people who betray us, they will still be there afterwards. So we have to find a way to find the truth and not to hurt people with what we do. It's not only about this one vaccination. It's about all the drugs they decide on. And they are the same people. If they lie, if they betray us now, we won't believe them anymore.